just posted recently a photo of a Jeep going down the road that I was following that had two kayaks on it. One kayak was still sitting okay in its carriage. The other one had totally slipped out of the carriage and was hanging on the side of the Jeep. The strap was hanging down, getting ready to be wrapped up in the rear tire. Actually, this time of year, you start seeing a lot of things like that, and that's because a lot of people that are beginners are taking off, heading to the water, and really don't have the proper knowledge on how to load their boats up. A sea kayak, a recreational kayak, a sit-on-top kayak, or even a canoe. There are certain things that you need to follow, certain guidelines you need to follow, and anytime you put your boat up on your rack system, make sure it's nice and sound and tight and won't move side to side. Even though your destination isn't far away, you never really know how fast you may end up going. You may think you're going to take country roads to get to the spot where you're going to paddle, yet for some reason you find yourself out on a highway. Everything changes at that point. So people think boat flying off your car, falling off your car, slipping out of the back of your truck, hitting the road, spinning around and going off to the side. You stop, you pick it up, it's got a few scratches on it, no harm, no foul. But in reality, that's a huge liability problem. That boat is your responsibility. If you're driving down the interstate or you're driving down a highway and that boat takes off like a kite, goes through somebody's windshield, hits the road, causes a wreck, you're going to be liable for that. So this is real important that when you tie that boat up, that you remember that you are liable for it at all times. So this is a Yakima Load Warrior, and I have it coupled with some Malone cross rails. It's pretty strong. Even saying that though, every once in a while I'll go in and make sure that the rails are tight, make sure nothing has come loose. My rack system is still straight with the vehicle. With the side of the Montana, it was just a little bit offset. It was just sticking just a little bit. As I had a canoe on here, I'd hit some bad storms. Once again, you got semis passing you and all that, and there was actually enough turbulence that my canoe held up okay, but the actual rack system had wanted to shift. The amount of pressure back and forth is incredible when you go down an interstate, especially in inclement weather. I'm going to go ahead and load my 16-foot current design Storm sea kayak. You're going to be able to tie down any boat, and you're going to be able to endure the wind and the pressures of going down the highway without your boat becoming loose. Because I've had this system for a very long time, and I'm sure Yakima, the company Yakima, is one of the very best. Yakima and Thule rank up there very, very high as far as rack systems go. Your liability, safety, livelihood is on the line. Make sure you invest in good equipment. Always invest in good equipment. Okay, let's get these put on the rack. Now, if you're just starting out in kayaking, canoeing, it's important to have a vehicle that you can load your boats on. So if you've got a real high profile vehicle, it's going to be pretty difficult to be able to get that boat up on top. A lot of times on a car, cross racks are so close together. If you have any kind of a boat with any kind of length on it, it just becomes very hard to secure that boat. My choice is a 2004 Pontiac Montana, and it has worked out great with the access from both sides, from the back. I've got a step bumper. It's just one of those vehicles that has worked out perfect for me. What I'd highly suggest, if you're a beginner and you get a rack system like this and you get all these different components and straps and things like that, practice in your driveway. Try not to wait for the day you're ready to go on your trip and that evening before you're trying to scramble how to figure out, well, which strap goes where, and do I have it right, and is it adjusted right, and all that. If you happen to load your boats up at night, in the morning before you leave, check them again. A lot of times straps will get wet because of the dew at night. You want to make sure that they didn't stretch out a little bit. You can tighten them down. Okay, so you can kind of see how the back saddles go on too. Now I just want to make a little bit of comment about the photo I did post of the Jeep going down the road with one of the kayaks almost falling off the side. We've all made the mistake. I don't want to be sarcastic to the people that own that Jeep, because chances are they're probably beginners. They probably didn't realize they had strapped something wrong, jumped in the vehicle, all excited to go. Hey, I'm glad that they're out there. I'm glad they're getting outdoors. I'm glad they're out paddling. Preliminary precautions to everybody else. Just be careful, because that could be you if you don't tie your boats on correctly. They've got to be super strong, and they can't wiggle back and forth. If I was a betting man, I would say that they learned their lesson. They probably pulled up, and that's probably the last time they tied that boat on wrong. These supports here, this is for a canoe. The sides of your canoe, and it keeps the canoe from going back and forth. These are really important if you haul a big boat like a canoe. Okay, that gives you a good idea of what the rack system looks like. Now this little mini video cannot be a one size fits all. If you buy a system from somewhere like Academy Sports, Dick's Sporting Goods, REI, any other kind of outfitting store like that, have them help you and explain everything before you take the system home and try it yourself. Very important. I'm not so sure there's outfitters like that anymore that'll do that. Maybe you have one close to you. If you do, take advantage of it, because they know how to do things. They are the experts. They can teach you, and then from there you become a pro and you can teach other people. A small loading tip for you is to always move your vehicle as level as you can get it, and it makes loading your boats so much easier. Hello, buddy. It's the woodpecker up there in the tree. Hey, I'd be the last one in the world to tell you that loading a boat like that is super easy, because it's not. If you're with somebody, have them help you. It's always better to have help, especially when you're dealing with 16-foot boats like this. Either sea kayaks, or you may have a canoe. Same thing. I can load them all day long by myself, but if you're not used to it, or if you're a beginner, have somebody help you. It works a lot better. This is also going to be probably a little controversial too. I like to haul my boat just like that. Now, a lot of people are going to say, no, you need to flip your boat over. If you have a cockpit cover on it, then you definitely probably ought to turn it upside down, because that way if you hit a rainstorm, it's not going to be filling up with water, and then the boat weighs twice as much when you try to take it off your rack system. But I've got a nice cockpit cover on there that works good, sheds the water, so I'm not worried about water getting in there. The last thing in the world I'd want to do is just 2 straps on it and walk away, because you have to put a bow strap on it and a stern strap. That is a must. That's the biggest mistake that I see boaters is they forget their bow strap and their stern strap. Those are crucial to making sure your boat stays nice, unwiggly as you go down the road. A lot of times you'll want to put your boat right in the center, both cross rails. But on this particular boat, if you look, you'll notice that I've got a real nice sea compass up on top. So I always want to make sure that compass is just a little bit this way, so my strap doesn't go across it and interfere with the compass and end up breaking it. Guess you can hear the train whistle. Hey, if you like trains, I just put out a great video on trains. Check it out on my YouTube channel. So now that's pretty snug right there. You just want to get that strap nice and tight. You don't have to overdo it. Okay, another tip for you. Don't skimp on your straps. I always keep them dry. If they get wet, I make sure I dry them before I fold them back up. Mildew and sun will eat your straps up, because it's always important not to have a twist in your strap. You want your strap to come around the boat through the buckle nice and straight. Now that strap's pretty tight. That boat's getting pretty tight, but I'm not finished yet. Now, to be quite honest, this is where a lot of boaters will stop. They've got their front strap on, back strap on. Hey, let's go. The sun's shining, the water's ready, we got to get out on the water. But the thing is, though, this is where you'll make that mistake. Take the extra time to make sure everything is nice and secure. Okay, so this might just be me, but I always like to make sure my boats are on the vehicle nice and straight. Travel through the air a lot better, plus it looks good. You look like a professional. Look at those boats. You pass by, when you're going down the interstate, no telling how many people pass you or you pass them, and they're going, wow, look at that setup. It's also a safety thing, because if your boats are nice and straight and tight, they're going to hold very well, and you're going to get to your destination and back home. It's not only am I tying the kayak down to the actual rack system, but I'm going to go further than that and tie it down to the factory rack system on the Montana. One thing I try not to do is tie two boats down with the same strap, even though it'll reach. If you have two smaller boats and you use one strap to tie them around, guess what's going to happen? You got it. Somebody's going to go up there, first on the water. They're going to undo that strap. They're going to take that one boat off, and they're going to get out there on the water. Oh, man, I forgot the ice in the cooler. I'll be right back, honey. You take off, not realizing that boat's not strapped on anymore. You can kind of see that cockpit cover I was talking about. Okay, so here comes the number one mistake that folks make: bow and stern tie downs. And in fact, if I was offering a course, a nationwide course, how to load your canoe or kayaks out, the final exam was you go load your boat up, you drive it up, and I check it out for you. If you didn't have a bow and stern tie down on that boat, you would fail the course. That's how important it is, because these straps right here are everything. Bow strap keeps that boat from lifting up, keeps air from getting underneath it and lifting up. Also helps with the sideways, left and right. The stern is mostly for left and right in case you got to jam on your brakes or you hit something. That is a safety cord that boat doesn't rocket off your rack system and go through somebody's back window. Even a head-on collision, go through somebody's front window. You can use regular rope. I probably wouldn't use anything less than 3/8 of an inch thick. I hope this helps you out. Once again, the boat has to be so sturdy on there. There's no give at all. That's how you want your boat on there every time. If you notice, that boat does quote unquote move and shake a little bit, but that's part of the whole rack system doing that. So the whole thing is moving in sync. There's not a lot that you can do about that. I'm pretty convinced that I could take this boat right now all the way out to Portland, Oregon, and be just fine. Okay, I appreciate you coming to the channel. That's LAF Space Film Fest, capital LAF Space Film Fest. Hey, if you would, hammer down that subscribe button. I appreciate it. Helps me to put out many videos like this. Maybe if you're a beginner, this is going to help you from losing your boat down the highway. When I say the bow lines and the stern lines are so vitally important, if you have like a 9/6 Swifty, the bow and wouldn't be as important, but you might want to still go ahead and put a stern line on just in case you have to smash the brakes down and the boat doesn't go flying through the rack system. And you have a good day.